Hello guys, this is John O'Hary from Razor Edge Films, and today I'll be teaching you guys how to use Blender for visual effects, and we'll be talking about a disintegration visual effects, for your characters today. So we'll use Blender to create a disintegration visual effects, like when you shoot your character with a laser beam or something, or for some reason you just have to, explode for some reason. So we'll do something in line of this. This is a project I did last year. Actually did the visual effect, I didn't produce it. So yeah, this is it. So first of all, in Blender we'll just quickly model around the character, something that looks like the character. Then we'll apply the disintegration VFX on it and simulate it, and we have something like this. Alright, so first of foremost, what we're going to do is take a screenshot of the moment we need the effects done, and that's the first thing. Then the next is I will open Blender and start our effects. I'm using Blender 2.80, so we'll see the default cube, we'll remove it because we know what happens to it. It's just not good, we'll delete it. Alright, and we'll press number 1 to align ourselves to the front orthographic view, and press Ctrl+Alt+0 to snap your camera to the set view, and now import your screenshot to the camera. Alright, so with the screenshot imported, we are just going to model a quick do a quick model around this guy, and then we'll move on to the next stage, which is like applying the texture over him. But to just see it clearly, I'm going to have to increase the alpha of my camera to see it clearly. Okay, so we'll bring back that set default cube because we use it to model again. I don't know why I deleted it in the first place. Alright, so we'll just start a quick model. We'll have to make this wired so you see what I'm doing. Alright, so go to edit mode and start extruding faces, and and start modeling. I believe most of you watching this tutorial must have at least have a basic understanding of model, because we're not doing something complicated here. I'm just pressing Ctrl+R to add loop cuts and adjusting faces. I've added subdivision, modifier, and so to make it smooth and make it just cover the character. That's what matters. Let it just cover the character in camera. As far as it covers the camera, that is all good. So it doesn't really matter how it looks in real life, but let it just cover the character in camera. Good. So we are good with this. Add a smooth shading, and we'll now move on to the next step. Alright, so we are going to add a UV. Go to unwrap it. So we'll just look through the camera and press U, and we'll press U and unwrap project from view. Now while doing that, project from camera view, we'll now see that it looks boxy, is different from what we have in our viewport. But if you now apply your texture on it, you'll see that it looks all messy and warpy, and it's not what you want. Okay, so I had to do this for you to be able to correct it. Alright, so what happens is that the geometry is different from what we have on the UV. So all you need to do is just increase your viewport and click apply on the subdivision. Please go out from the so now you can now go ahead and unwrap it again, and now you see you have what you need. Okay, so we are going to increase the roughness to 1, and we still have a specular highlight, so we'll just take it all down to 0 in order to make it match the image we have. So we'll take it to 0, and now it matches everything. That's all right. Okay, so that is what we have now, and that is looking very great. So the green areas, don't worry about it. When you key it out, it will go out. That's no advantage of using a green screen to shoot something like this. Okay, so the next thing is that we're now going to create something that would trigger the disintegration. So for now, we'll create a ball, which is a sphere. Use a UV sphere, make it big, rotate it on the y-axis 90 degrees, and make it big enough to cover the model. Good. So the idea is, as soon as the UV sphere comes close and covers the model, the disintegration should be complete. If it goes back, nothing happens. If it comes close, the disintegration happens. So we use something called the vertex weight proximity modifier, which is this. So for that to actually happen, we're going to have to first of all add a vertex group. So we'll click edit mode, go to vertex group, add a group, then go and add the vertex weight modifier, go to the vertex group, and go add the group that we just did, and use the target object should be the sphere. Change it to geometry and leave it as vertex. Leave all those figures for now. Then go to smooth and change to smooth. Now we're going to animate the ball from 0 to 30, and we'll go to the weight paint mode, and now when the ball comes closer, we see the color starts to change. So we are saying from red nothing happens, gets to blue, everything should happen. The disintegration should happen by blue, right? So we'll move this to the wireframe modifier, and so we'll see what's going on. So if we end up bringing the ball close, now gets to the center, we have this problem of the different color shadings. How you fix it is you have to work with these values, change the values, let the highest be 3.5 and the lowest 0.5. Good, that should look good for us. So if we go back, it works perfectly. But for some reason, if you fall into a problem where the ball gets to this extent and is still getting shaded, if you have this, if you adjust these values, I will advise you to do that, because if you come close, you see we have some other things. So all you need to do, leave it the way it is, but yeah, it's called vertex weight proximity. So make the ball a little bit far and add a keyframe, and that should fix your problem. Okay, so doing that should sort out our our trigger process. So the next step is to actually disintegrate the thing, but sorry, we skipped some steps. So we're going to put off the vertex weight proximity modifier, and we'll go and we have to separate each of these faces. They're all together, but we'll have to separate them into individual faces, because that's what's going to have to blow up, right? So we'll add a particle system, leave it at 1 1, and we'll add an explode modifier, and when we play it, everything explodes. But when you go back to the beginning, everything refuses to go back. So all you need to just go and change the seed number from 0 to 1 and back to 0 again. It's all good. Apply everything and delete the particle system. Good, everything is all now separate like that, which is what we're looking for, because those are the faces that are going to explode. Good. Now we'll add a smooth shading, but nothing changes, but it doesn't affect your image. So add a cloth modifier and change it to 2, because we want to go fast, and mass to 0.01. We don't want it to be heavy or anything. So we'll now go, if we play it now, everything just falls down, and that's not what we want. So we use the shape, change the pin group to group the vertex group that we all selected initially. So when you play it, nothing happens, because our vertex weight, we need to activate it. We'll activate the vertex weight. Now when we play it, when the ball comes close, everything happens, which is good. Now if you watch it from this view, everything happens when the color changes to blue. Red means nothing, and blue means everything should happen. Good. We'll go back and add a wind force field and rotate it on the y-axis 90 degrees to face your character, depending on where you want the wind to blow. Scale it up to be big enough, and position it very well how you want it to be. Then we'll now go to the settings and make the strength to be 450, make the noise amount to be 3, and the C to 106. Well, I just like the numbers. Now we'll play it, and everything all blows away smooth and all good. All right, okay, we'll play it again, and everything blows away. So we'll see how it's working, and everything is working out all fine and good. All right, we can change the values to see different values of the wind, and everything all still looks good. It just blows out from your camera. If you see through the camera view, it blows it all away. That is all looking good. Make it up to 450 back, and we'll look at it through here. As the color changes, it blows away. That's what we're looking for. That is the disintegration effect. So that is the first stage of the effect. So if you increase the quality to 10 and still play it, it can give you a better quality. All right, the next step we're going to take is we're going to have to add smoke. And how do we do that? We'll go to the vertex group and add another vertex group and change it to dot smoke and assign it to the same model. Add a vertex weight proximity modifier, changes to group dot smoke, change target to sphere, change it to geometry and vertices. Now if we go to the weight paint mode, it's all red. Now we don't want it to be red, because we have used red to encode the fact that if it's red, nothing happens, and if it's blue, it should disintegrate. Now we can't use the same color coding for the smoke, so we need to flip those values and change the color. Now what would we do? We just flip the values, and the that of the disintegration, the lowest is 0.5 and the highest is 3.5. So this time around for the smoke, we're going to use the lowest to be 3.5 and the highest to be 0.5 in order to flip the colors and therefore make, the blue should mean nothing should happen and red should mean this smoke should, show up, and the opposite should be the case for that of the disintegration, so that everything works out fine. So when we select each of them at the vertex group, we all see each colors show up very well, and that is very good, that is very fine. So now the next step, we're going to actually apply the smoke by going to the physics tab and selecting smoke. But sorry, before then we're going to add a domain. Go to the domain and add a big cube, and rather scale the cube to cover the whole model, and go to your camera. Make sure the borders of the cube leave your camera. Adjust it very well to fit where you want the smoke to go to, the direction of the smoke. Then after adjusting everything, it looked all good and fine. So we go to the physics tab and make the smoke a domain, and select the guy and make him a smoke and make him a flow object, and change the surface to 1.1 because we want the smoke to actually emit from closer to the surface of the model. And then we'll change the pin group to group.smoke because that's what we need it for. All right, so we'll have to check the adaptive domain first. So we'll play and see everything works out well, and the smoke and the cloud disintegrates at the same time. Good, that is very good, that is very good. So if you want the wind to become less, make it 0.2. It becomes lesser than you want, so it doesn't go that far away. It works all together with the simulation. That is very good. You can go lower if you want. All right, so that is basically what we need for this to just get a good disintegration effect. So what we now need to do is just increase the resolution of the smoke to 100, and check the high resolution box because it makes everything better and breaks it all even and good. So the cake, we'll change it to 100. We'll have to save your project first if nothing happens. So before we bake, we'll change the cake to 100 too and bake. Now I would come back, I'll click the bake button, and I will get back to you guys when it's done. All right, it's done now. So we'll have to play and see that the smoke is more of a high resolution smoke now. Everything's all disintegrating and looking all fine and dandy. Very good. Okay, so that is how your disintegration effect happens, and that is what the effect is all about. So we use cycles to render because if render normally now, Eevee does not really give me a thick smoke like I need for some reason. So we'll select transparent in cycles, and when we'll play it, we'll see the smoke. So we'll now drag over to this and to see the shader. We'll use we'll add a material to the shader of the domain, change it to principled volume, and leave the whole settings but change this to volume. And now if we go ahead and do a preview render, we'll see that we'll see the smoke appears. It appears now, but the sphere, we have to click it and go to the visibility panel and change the ray visibility, put off the camera box so we don't see it on our render. That is very good. Okay, so now the lighting is all dark and doesn't look well on your model. So all you need to do is click the model, and from your node, take the node from the base color and change it to emission. All good. Everything is all brightened up and good. So when you play it, I think you play it a little bit more. Good. There you now see that disintegration happens and everything is all working fine. So you can now render this on your alpha background and composite it over your final image. That is good. So if you like the tutorial, hit the subscribe button. I believe that Blender should be used in the industry for visual effects more and more. So follow me up and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials coming up for all other kinds of visual effects. Stay creative and take care.